So, Kay, what is the Tychos?
What is the Tychos? Precisely. Amazing, astounding Tychos. Probably one of the most important discoveries of our century. I'm just going to say that. What are your feelings on that?
Yes, I agree. I don't know how to describe it. It's the most reliable model ever designed because you can actually geometrically test it against the star field and the planets against the star field and so on, and there's no Copernican contradictions. Now we're getting ahead of ourselves a bit because what does that mean to the audience? What does that mean? There's contradictions in the Copernican system, like what does that mean?
Well, what is the Tychos a model of?
It is a model of the solar system. The solar system, right? It turns out there's actually a lot of problems with the heliocentric model. A lot. Which the Tychos resolves. So what's interesting is that it makes it so that, you can actually predict the correct location of any body in our system. Even star positions in the sky more accurately. So, anyway, just an interesting development that we are lucky enough to be privy to because Simon has been working on this for a few years and now he's releasing it to the world. So this is Simon's masterwork, and there's a fully working 2D interactive planetarium, the Tychosium, and that lets you understand the positions of the bodies as you look at it kind of from the north of our system, more or less. They're working on, they being Simon and Patrick's from Clues Forum, they're working on a 3D version, which is amazing and lets you really explore the system. It is nice to also be able to, with the 3D system, zoom right up to your preferred body and then have, the perspective of, okay, here we are at Earth looking out at these shiny pinpoints of light, which for the most part, that's how we see the planets.
It's quite amazing. I would like to also just quickly go over the heliocentric model. That's where Earth revolves around the sun. Right. Just a bit of a primer, if you will, before we get going.
Sure.
And then geocentric is where the sun revolves around the Earth.
Well, geocentric is not just the sun revolves around the Earth. That's been a product of many different systems. The geocentric is that everything rotates around the Earth, and that's just as flawed as heliocentric or flat Earth. They decided that, the Earth doesn't even spin, and so all the stars are in their, fixed sphere rotating around it. It's very medieval, biblical kind of, that's the adherence of the geocentric theory. No, the Tychos is much more sophisticated.
Yeah. Well, yes. And that's what the other models lack, the sophistication to actually match up the solar system with observed data,
yes,
which
exactly.
amazingly Simon has been able to do.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to see anyone try to propose that it's not this, because at this point, he's written 36 chapters, as well as other writings that didn't even make it into the book yet, which will probably be saved for a second edition or for updates on the site. It just keeps it so self-consistent, unlike the Copernican system, that it's astonishing.
Now, we could explain the model. However, nothing beats going to look at it. You have to, the people listening to this audio right now, where could we instruct them to go to get a visual of what our new solar system should look like, which we are calling the Tychos?
If you're the type of person that just likes to go right to a site and explore it, you could go to tychos.info. If you're the kind of person that just wants a URL because, well, you just don't really want to go. You don't want to get distracted. The direct link to the Tychosium, the planetarium, is tychos.info/Tychosium hyphen 2D. That's like, like a dash 2D. And Tychosium is just how it sounds, TYCHOSIUM.
Cool. You're just going to be, people out there listening, you're going to be astounded. You're going to be, this is where we actually live, right here? This is like, whoa. And it's perfectly circular clockwork. I mean, it's like a wristwatch. It's like an old-fashioned, perfectly timed wristwatch with gears and cogs. It's just beautiful. It's such an amazing system.
Yeah, it'd be nice if the future iteration could have some kind of glow when things synchronize, kind of like when the moons of Jupiter synchronize. Io, Ganymede, and so on. They have this ratio of orbital periods that perfectly lines up like a clock. It turns out our whole system is a bit like that.
Like a clock, people. That's it. Perfectly timed gears and circles, and the planets moving, all perfect, so nothing hits each other, but they pass in their own paths. That's the amazing part, and they still don't, or near their own previous paths, and they still don't hit.
This does make sense to me too. Yeah, they don't collide.
Simon's model is named after Tycho Brahe.
Yeah.
And I've been researching him, and wow, what an astounding figure he was. The different observatories he set up, the books and books and books of data he recorded that he had assistants record in his absence. The giant viewing machines, they look like giant sextants, to precisely cite where planets were one at a time. He had them angled at so he could take precise data on how far they were up off the horizon, what their left and right movement was, up and down movement. It's quite detailed data. The astounding amount of data, the structures he left behind, he is in so many corroborating documents. He got funding from so many different agencies, because that was a system at the time. You got different governments to fund you. And what I was reading is a lot of this was anticipation of a better calendar, was one of the reasons they took star data and sun data and things like that to get the calendars perfect.
Whoa, and that's what Simon came up with. That's like the later chapters in the book are all about like how to correct the calendar. That's amazing. He finished Tycho's work.
Right, the final calendar. He did it finally. Where's King? What's George? We got to get a hold of him. We got your calendar, King George.
The ghost of King George would be proud.
So I just wanted to throw that on. We're going to meet up with Simon in just a minute, but I just wanted to say the information and data behind Tycho Brahe is massive. It's just an astounding amount.
Well, what's also interesting is that you can confirm it for yourself. But the tables are used to this day, the stellar tables, as the basis for the star positions. And now they're updating them to star movements and parallax. So the point being that if we were to diligently reproduce his efforts and monitor and track everything that's moving around in the heavens, we'd come, I think, to the same conclusions.
There you go. That's really the point of this, is that Simon used the Tycho data to help confirm what we can already confirm with observation right now, because the model speaks for itself on its own without any history at all. because it's observable right now and predictable.
Yes, exactly, because it's what's been going on. It is literally what we have been recording, and not just us in the sense of like Western culture.